Are you lost in the chaotic whirlwind of day-to-day busyness? Do you yearn for a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in your life? Welcome to Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose, the podcast dedicated to empowering women on their journey of self-discovery and finding their true purpose through their own story. I'm your host, Brenda Simmons. Welcome to the Be You, Your Story, Your Purpose podcast. I am so grateful that you are tuning in today. It is Thanksgiving here in the United States, and I hope everybody who is listening to this has a very wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you get to spend it with family or friends or loved ones, wherever they may be. So I wanted to talk a little bit about things that I'm grateful for. And these are things that may not be what you typically say that you're grateful for, but I think that they are vital to the human experience. And so I just wanted to share these things with you. So I've got 5 of them. And obviously there's a lot more that I'm grateful for, but I think these are really, really important. And hopefully they give you pause and help you to consider the value that each one of them has in your own life. So the first one is perspective. I love this idea of being able to get different viewpoints. And it's so important, especially when you are dealing with relationships, with children, with other people, coworkers. So many misunderstandings happen because we only have our own perspective. And while it may be true for us, a different truth might be very real for somebody else. And so to illustrate this, I kind of wanted to, and actually, it's not even just with relationships. I think sometimes even with our own selves, it's really good to get different perspectives. So many times that we're involved in a situation and we can't really see the forest through the trees. And so it's super important to be able to seek after these different perspectives. And so I wanted to share with you an experience that I had when I was the leader over Earth Week for my kids' school. One of the things that I love to do was take them out into the outdoor classroom. And in this outdoor classroom, we had just so many cool things. There was a fenced-in pond, and there was benches along the pond. There was a podium, as well as, several different benches in a classroom style. There were streams and trails and all sorts of really, really fun things. Well, this one year I decided I wanted to give them a lesson in perspective. And so one day I brought them down, and I would bring them down according to age groups so that I could tailor the lesson to the age. And so I wanted to have them understand the grandeur of the earth. And so I had them look up and to look around, to look at all the different kinds of trees that there were, and to see what they saw in the sky. And it was just super fun for them to be able to make that, understand the immensity of what was around them. And I had them do different activities and whatnot with that. Then the next day I brought them down again, and this time I got a hula hoop. Each there was like a set of 3 or 4 kids per hula hoop, and they had this activity where they had to write down all the things that they could find inside of the hula hoop. And so this time it was like insects and the little tiny forbs and the bushes and things like that would fit inside of a hula hoop. And it was just so awesome because, it really teaches you that sometimes we need to go high to get the perspective that we need. And sometimes we need to get close and we need to get the details. And both of these perspectives have very, very good value in whatever situation that we are in. Again, I talked earlier about how this is so applicable in relationships. And I think one of the things that we can take away, I have a friend who always says, 2 things can be true. And they may be totally different things within the same situation, but they're true for different people. And so it is really important to be able to be open to understanding different perspectives. Something else related to perspectives is to reframe. And this is to put yourself in another person's shoes. Again, when you're dealing with relationships, it's understanding, okay, well, how did they come to the conclusion of their truth, right? Or if you are trying to do something and something just isn't working, you can even channel somebody else's energy. If I were this person, how would they approach this problem? And so sometimes you can get a different perspective doing it that way. So I love this idea of perspective and how sometimes you just get the greatest aha moments from just understanding things from a different angle. So that is something that I am super grateful for. Number 2 is failure. And this is something that you may not think has value, because who likes to fail at things? However, if viewed in the right light, really all failure is an opportunity to learn. And I think one of the greatest examples of this is Thomas Edison and him developing the light bulb. I mean, of course, he had a team. He wasn't doing it all by himself, but they failed so many times. I can't remember if it was 1,000 or 10,000, but it's a lot. And how many times would you go after something like that? He's just such a good example of perseverance and grit. And really, if you think about grit, I love this word grit because there's 2 parts of it. There is tenacity, which is the willingness to try different things, right? And try different methods, which is exactly what Thomas Edison did. And then there's also perseverance, which is the willingness to go the distance, right? And so Thomas Edison had a goal. He wanted to develop the light bulb, and he wasn't going to give up. And every single time he failed, he just looked at it as, oh, that's one more step closer to success. And so I think if we look at failure as an opportunity to learn, it really propels us forward rather than pushes us down. So I think that this is something that we can look at and adopt every single day. Some days are going to be rough and we're going to struggle and we'll be down, but the next day is new and it's not tainted, and you can start over every single day. And so I love this idea as failure as an opportunity to learn. And I'm super grateful for all of my failures, even though, sometimes it's hard. It totally is. But I have learned so much from my failures, and I am truly, truly grateful for them. So number 3 is progress. So kind of the opposite of failure, or maybe a result of failure, is progress. Now, the best way to measure progress is to look backwards instead of forwards, because when we look forward, we're looking at things that we want to do, things that we haven't accomplished yet. And so sometimes we get into a place called the gap. If you've ever read The Gap in the Gain, this is what the gap is. And so it's really important to not get stuck in that place where we're down on ourselves because we're not where we exactly want to be. Instead, we need to be looking backwards and looking at all of the things that we've accomplished. And this is really what really helps us to do this is to write things down. Take some time every month, you can do it every week, every day. Every day you can write down your wins that you've had. Every month you can say, these are my goals for the month and this is what I accomplished. And then every 90 days or every year, however, whatever time frame you want to do, take a moment to sit down and write down as you're looking back at the things that you've accomplished and where you're at. I was dealing with a herniated disc. It started almost 2 years ago. And this looking back on my progress has really helped because, I got to a point where I was feeling better. And yet when my back was feeling better, then I noticed that my body had totally atrophied because I hadn't really moved because I was in so much pain. And so I started to go back to the gym and tried to work at just building my strength and not only my strength, but also my flexibility, because that really took a nosedive as well. And so it was so fun to be able to look back on, number one, a year ago, I was in so much pain and I couldn't move. Or a month ago, I couldn't lift this much weight. Or, just those little things. It just was so much fun to be able to track that progress. And it really made me proud of myself for all of the things that I was able to do. So something that I love about looking at our progress is it also helps us to recognize patterns of recurring events and things that happen. and just see how things will happen, and yet we may not react to them in the same way. So, for example, I'm dealing with a certain situation right now that I dealt with several years ago. And I honestly have to say that I'm super proud of myself because I don't have the anxiety and the panic that I was dealing with when I originally was dealing with this situation. And so I can look back and go, oh my goodness, this is progress. And it makes me so happy. I'm not happy to be dealing with the same situation. However, it's not nearly as bad because I have experienced so much growth that has enabled me to um, to deal with this issue a little bit better. So it's super fun. All right. Number 4 is another one that you may not think is good, but I think there is good in it. And that is pain. Of course, pain is not pleasant, and it has a purpose. When you're thinking of physical pain, it really has a purpose in that pain helps us to protect our bodies. And, if you touch something hot and you have that knee-jerk reaction to pull your hand back, it's our body telling us, hey, this hurts, move, so that you're not going to injure yourself any further. So I think that this can be applicable in some emotional and mental well-being situations as well. And so sometimes we experience something painful and we repress it, right? And so that pain gets stuck inside, and it has not only physical effects, but also mental and emotional and spiritual effects as well. And so in order to heal, we often have to pull that pain up again and deal with it, however that looks for you. I've done this so many times in therapy, and it hurts so bad to have to relive painful moments and have to sort through them and deal with them. And what's interesting is when you do this, a lot of times if you resolve one issue, it'll have ripple effects and it will resolve other issues, so that you don't necessarily have to relive every single thing, right? But it's helping to heal one area actually helps us to heal in other areas as well. So if we pay attention to where that pain is, and sometimes there might be an emotion stuck to that pain, and we can deal with that. Now, the very best thing to do is when we're in a painful situation is just take a moment and just feel it. And I have a mentor who calls this feel it to heal it. And I love that phrase, because really, if you just take that time, and it's okay to cry, it's okay to process those emotions in real time, because it's better to just move through that rather than to absorb it and have it become a part of your body. So pain and failure also are good because they increase our capacity to feel that progress and to feel joy to a greater degree. And I know that seems counterintuitive, but it really is true. I have, and I think part of that is because, at least in my own experience, because I've experienced failure and because I've experienced pain, I can come to different situations with compassion, not only for myself, but for other people, and how wonderful it is to show that compassion and to encourage not only myself, but other people. And that brings me a lot of joy to know that, hey, I've done the same. I've been through similar situations, and I know you can make it again. And this is why. And so I encourage you to look at the benefits of feeling pain, even though it's not a super fun thing to experience. There are really, really good things that come out of processing your pain. All right. And my last one is what I'm going to call joy laughter. And I think there's different kinds of laughter, and there's a lot of studies that show how beneficial true laughter is. And so the kind of laughter I'm talking about is the one that just fills your soul. And it's not in a mocking way, and it's not self-deprecating. It truly is a laughter from joy. It is the physical manifestation of joy, and it is cleansing. It is a reminder that life can be light and it can be worry-free. Or even if we are in the midst of worries, that there are moments of levity and joy. And it truly is a wonderful, wonderful thing to experience. I was in I teach littles at church. They're like, it's a Sunday school class of like 3 and 4 year olds. And they are so much fun. And we were talking about things that we're grateful for because Thanksgiving is this week. And I said, I'm grateful for laughter. And it was so funny because they all busted up laughing. And it just was so stinking cute. And it just brought me so much joy to watch these kids laugh because I love laughter. It was just wonderful. So, one of the best things that I love about laughter is how it connects you with people, just like it did with these little children. You know, there was a connection that we felt because we all felt that joy of laughter. And so, number 5 is joy laughter. So I hope you guys take a moment to really reflect on the things that you're grateful for, and maybe not just the obvious things in your life, but take a moment to really think about what are the things that help you to be you, even though they're hard things. And because those are things that we can be grateful for as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful Thanksgiving. And until next time, you can rest assured that your story or your purpose can be found in your story. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Celebrate your dreams, let them take flight, for you are a star, shining bright in every step you take.